we thought this was going to be a great fight. It was leading up to be a good fight. And obviously unforeseen circumstances with the headbutt and the head clash. It was accidental. Neither person was leaning in with their heads. They just jumped in at the same time.
Yep.
You know, I've had experience with this, and I'm not look. And I know as much as I like to give John a hard time, as much as I like to give John a hard time about this stuff. In all fairness, I want to talk about when I went to appeal it in California, because what I heard from Dan Miragliotta was the same reason that I pitched at the California State Athletic Commission's appeal. I said, because their argument was, you kept fighting. And my argument is, guess what? There's been times
that's what
where
you do.
That's what we do. Like, it's ingrained in us. I've been doing this shit for 20 years. My body automatically does it. So I give the example of the Pat Healy fight. I was getting taken down and talking to myself in my head in the third round because I had broke 2 of my ribs in my sternum. In the third round, he takes me down with like 2 minutes left. And I tell myself, look, there's no shame. Like, you can barely breathe. You're having a hard time. There's no shame. Just concede in the bottom. As he's taking me down, I hit the ground. And I'm telling myself, it's okay. Don't worry. Just pull guard. I'm standing back up. Because your body's just like, as soon as you hit the ground, boom, you start working your way back up. You don't think. Training. It's just training. It's over. It's repetition of 20 years of get back up, get back up.
There's a very simple statement I used to say all the time. Your body will readily go where your mind has already been. Meaning, when you train a certain way and you do something over and over and over, and that's part of who you are, doesn't matter what you're saying in your head, your body's going to just respond and do those things that you have already done and thought of and all that over and over again. It's just going to go.
Yeah, because if you look at my Tony Ferguson fight, I tried to quit fucking 1,000 times, okay? But guess what? The body just kept moving and just kept trying to keep going. I wanted to get out of there. I kept telling myself, just fucking, it's over, get out of it. But there's never a moment where my body stopped trying to fight out of those positions. And if my body's still going, then who the fuck, my brain, who are you to tell my body what to do? You know what I mean?
Nothing.
And that's what my point was. Dan came out and he goes, oh, I saw it, but I thought like he just moved right away. He kept fighting. Well, he moved right away because Daukaus jumped on top of him and started hitting him. If you start hitting me, I'm going to start moving as well because I don't want to get fucking fully ground and pounded out. Like, you just need to keep going. And that's my concern in that situation and in that position, because how do you now go? How does Kevin Holland turn? Had Miragliotta not made that a no contest, how does he go and get that overturned with the commission, knowing the commission is going to look at you and say, well, you kept fighting? No shit, I kept fighting. My body's been trained to do that for pretty much a quarter of my life. That's one thing. And I also don't want to keep getting punched in the head, knowing that, sure, I'm not all there, but I also don't want to get knocked out completely. And so that's where I have I'm glad. I'm really, really glad he chose to make this a no contest. But up until I heard Herb Dean whisper in his ear what he was saying, I was thinking to myself, because he was making almost like he was making an argument.
No, he was making the
argument.
He
kept fighting. He kept fighting.
It's going to stay the way it is. He was still fighting.
Yeah, that's bullshit. And that's what that was like, oh, don't do that. Please don't do that.
The real telling part was you don't know what the referee sees. Okay. And so I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, that one you should have seen, based upon where you were at, the position that he was at and the way that Kevin fell when they came apart. Look, he went face first. He was out. When he hit the ground, he woke up.
John, they showed the camera view from the front. His eyes rolled back in his head for a split second.
Dude, he was out. It was like getting punched. He got hit on the jaw. It wasn't that it was his forehead or anything like that, but it snapped his head, and he was not, in any way prepared for that, and it put him out. But the telling part was when Dan said, oh, I saw it, and I rushed in there, but then he started fighting. This is where all MMA referees make mistakes. This is not, oh, he's fighting, let it go. You don't do that, because if you see the head clash many times, you'll see a head clash and neither guy responds to it at all, right? And so instead of stopping the action, if there's no cut, no damage that you see, you'll just, you'll come close to him and say, hey, watch your heads inside, or something to that effect, because you can see it did not affect either fighter. But if you have anything that shows that there's an effect and a guy getting knocked down, if you say, I saw that was a clash of heads, and you see a guy getting knocked down, it's time to go stop time. No matter that he comes back out of it, because I'm going to get him up and I'm going to take him over to the corner. I'm going to let him clear out that, the cobwebs, if there is that there. And I'm going to have the doctor look at him. And then if the doctor says, hey, we'll put him back into the fight. I did it with Seth Petrozelli against Mo Law, and it was a Bellator, and we were trying to look it up, 96, I think. But I can't find the video. But you'll see exactly those things. I mean, they hit. Mo Law goes after him to finish him, and he thinks I stopped the fight. He's all excited and said, no, I had called time and stuff, and it was, you clashed heads. That's what hurt him. And so you've got to take that time. And the thing is, the referee doesn't want to interfere with the action of the fight. You have to interfere with the action of the fight if you can see that it visibly caused damage to one fighter or to both fighters. You got to give them time.
Yeah, he was out. That was the thing that really, he was out. And like I said, from that front view, which the camera angle was, you could see his eyes roll back. You could see him go face down. He didn't even put his hands up to block his face from hitting the canvas. And then when Daukaus jumped on him, as soon as his body hit him, it woke him up. And he started trying to fight out of that position.
Sure.
He started hitting him. Now, I said, you and I were talking before we came on air, and I said, he's lucky. I said, Holland's lucky that he was trying to finish him with a submission versus trying to knock him out. Because when they got into the tussle, Holland got back up to his feet. He was able to jump to his back, and he would have got knocked out easy. That's what a lot of people don't get, is that once you've been knocked out like that, in that type of scenario, if I touch you again, your odds of you going to sleep are pretty damn easy. Like, it doesn't have to be hard. It just needs to graze you in the same spot or near the same spot, because your head and your brain's already rattled. Everything about it's rattled. And I go back to, I think I even said this in the California State Athletic Commission's meeting. I said, so what you're saying is that what I should have done was just fucking flopped on the ground and fucking kicked and screamed to get more attention than I got headbutted. And they basically were like, well, yeah. I was like, that's not what fighters do. Like, no. If you guys believe that, that's not what real fighters do. They don't do that shit. They
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Their body's just ingrained to keep fighting because that's what they're fucking told to do.
Let's look at this though and take a look. There has been an evolution though, because from your situation, which, I know you thought I was against you, but I was actually for you, and I was trying to help you in the thing. But they had kind of made up their mind for whatever reason, and I think it was because I think that the executive director Andy Foster had talked to him and said, he got right back up, and I think they bit into that, and that was their determining factor. Well, and they watch the tape and they see you bounce right back up, and it's like, well, he's fine. When no, you were hurt by it. But the thing to look at is evolution-wise, at least in the state of California, they brought in instant replay. So we could go to instant replay on that type of situation, even if I didn't, know, because I had asked the judge, hey, was that a clash of heads or was that a punch? And the judge told me it was a punch, right? I'm like, oh, okay. And then later on I see, no, that was a fucking clash of heads. So at least now in the state of California, we can go and we can look at that instant replay and we can reverse it. Same as what Nevada has implemented with their ringside official being the replay official. They handled this, and it's okay if it takes more than one person to come up with the idea of this is the direction we need to go, as long as that direction is the right direction for the fighters. And so I'm very happy that they have Herb, being that replay official. I'm happy that you saw Jeff Mullins, who was in charge of the fight for the state of Nevada. He was definitely a part of it and talking to him. You saw other officials coming in and giving information about what they saw, which in the end forced or made or because we kind of thought that Dan was kind of going to go with, no, I'm going to leave it the way it is. But all of that input told him, no, I need to make this a no contest. And that was the right call for what occurred in this fight. Kevin Holland did not deserve to lose the fight based upon being hurt by a clash of heads. That's not within the legality of the sport. And so he shouldn't lose based upon the injury that he suffered and the damage that he suffered from that, which put him in a situation where the choke ends up making him tap later on. So in the end, the right thing was done, and that's good for the sport of MMA.
100% agree. Okay.